Let's be honest, boob tape can either be a lifesaver or a disaster. So today I'm going to show you how I use it as my secret style weapon. Get your coffee, get your tea, honey, because it's going to be a long one, girl. Hey, it's your girl Keto. Welcome to my channel, More Keto, where style is not defined by your budget, honey. So today's video is a highly requested, and regardless if you have smaller busts, larger busts, or anything in between, my goal today is to share my personal techniques to help you feel more secure and confident when wearing boob tape. Now, before we get into the video, we definitely have a few disclaimers, honey. We got some church announcements that we need to get through. The first one is I am not a medical professional, as you already know, so I highly suggest that you go ahead and do a patch test. Also, make sure you're following the directions for the particular brand that you're using. Each brand use different adhesive and things like that, so they have different recommendations on how long you should wear their particular product. And honestly, if you have sensitive skin or some type of a skin condition, you want to exercise extreme caution or maybe just avoid boob tape altogether. And the last disclaimer is I ask that you watch the video in its entirety, because if you miss one thing, it could affect the way you actually apply your boob tape. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into this, girl. For the sake of this video, we're only going to talk about the two top brands that I use the most. And the first brand is Brassy Bra. This brand comes in the cup size of A through G. It also comes in 5 different skin tones. Inside the box, you're also going to get some pasties as well as a patch test, which is also great. And if you do need some additional coverage, they do sell some additional strips that you can add for added support. Now, the con about this particular brand for me is that you only get 3 in a pack. So you only can get 3 uses because they are not reusable. And if you're someone like me who uses boob tape often, especially because I film a lot as well, this is just not cost effective for me at all. But this brand is great to wear in extreme heat. I've worn it in like 120 plus degree weather and that thing did not budge, honey, okay? I've also swam in these just to have some added support underneath my swimsuits. Not to mention the brand does a great job with providing some how-to videos and some of their tips and trips. Get it out. Tips and tricks of how to apply it. Now, this next brand is the one I use the most and the one that I will be using during the application process. It is the Sharmony DIY boob tape, and I'm not sure if it's Sharmony or Sharmany. I apologize. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. I like this roll because it does come in a couple different sizes. I always opt for the extra large roll, which we will talk why I do that here in a second. This does come with some pasties as well as this sizing template. This way you can cut out that teardrop shape if you want that, just like the Brassy Bra. But the main reason this is my favorite is because look how much is on this roll. The con about this particular product is that it only comes in 2 different skin tones. There's no patch test that is included. However, you can still cut a piece of the product and apply it to your skin that way. Before you even touch the tape, let's talk about prep, because this is what's going to make that application process easier and more comfortable for you. You want to start off by knowing what you're going to wear automatically. This way you can visualize where you're going to go ahead and place the tape. And I also suggest that you keep the clothing item close to you, because that's going to help when it comes to the trimming process. Second, your skin needs to be completely clean and completely dry, and you want to avoid using any type of perfumes or lotions or oils before applying the product. You can do all of that once the product is applied. Next, you want to make sure you have all of your tools. So you want to make sure you have a good pair of scissors nearby, and you'll want to pre-cut all of your pieces before you start. Trust me, that's going to make the application easier, and I will show you that process when we do the application section. And you want to make sure you're in front of some type of a mirror. This way you can see all the angles and make sure you're applying everything correctly. All right, let's get into the application process. I do want to note that I will be applying the boob tape over this particular bodysuit. You still will get the gist of how to apply this technique while I use my bodysuit. It's not going to sit up as if it was applied directly to my skin. So just keep that in mind. It is going to look a little weird, but you'll get the gist of the technique, all right? Also, I do have on some nip covers for this one, so I'm not staring you down, girl. Normally, I do not wear them. I just want to reiterate that, so I'm being very transparent in what I'm doing. Again, if you want something super easy, just go with the Brassy Bra, because it's just that one piece, one and done. However, that's not as cost effective for me, so for this tutorial here, we're going to be using the roll. All right, so you want to start by unrolling the product from the roll, and the goal is to make sure we get enough of this to cover from the front of our chest over to the side of our chest. Even though we're not going to apply it in one swoop, we still want to make sure we have enough width. And the beauty of this particular thing is if this is not enough width for you, you can always turn it this way and unroll as much or as little as you like to make sure you're covering your chest. For me, this width is enough, so I'm just gonna keep it as so. And the next thing is we wanna go ahead and cut enough to cover the top. So I wanna make sure it's starting underneath the bust, and I wanna cut about halfway. Reason being is once we peel this backing, this is actually gonna stretch. So we don't wanna waste product, we're trying to save what we can. So about halfway for me is gonna work. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold it right here. I already have a little indentation right here on this line, so I know this is where I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half. Once I have it folded in half, then I'm going to go ahead and just cut it off of the roll. And I like that these backings have some type of line because I can actually use it to know where I need to cut. So I know I'm going to fold right here, so this line right here is going to be my indicator to cut. The reason I like to fold it in the first place is now that when I cut along this fold, each piece for both of my busts will be the same size. Now I'm left with 2 pieces for each side of the bust, but we're not done just yet. We're going to go ahead and put them together. And as I mentioned, it should be enough. Sorry, y'all, the camera goes out of focus from time to time, but it should be enough to cover your bust. We don't want to apply it this way because what's going to happen when you do a lot of folds, it's going to start creasing. So we're going to cut some of this. And for me, what I'm going to do is I like to cut about 1/3. And we're going to use this as an extra strip. And it's going to help round out the chest over here to where we don't have all that spillage and it kind of forms like this torpedo type of a shape. It'll just nicely round out the boob. Again, I have both of the pieces together and I'm going to cut about 1/3 of it. And this process actually goes really quickly. It's just because we're doing a tutorial and I have to stop and move the camera and talk about it. So now what I'm left with is 2 main pieces and 2 side strips. Keep in mind, cut as much as you need for your particular bust. If you need longer strips or wider, do so. If you need this to be longer and wider, do so. Everyone's chest is different, everyone's size is different, so make sure you're cutting enough to fit for you. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and peel off the backing, but we're only gonna peel it halfway because once this adhesive starts sticking to itself, you're not gonna be able to use it. It's not gonna be sticky anymore. So by peeling it halfway, it still gives you space to hold the product. You're gonna take your other hand and you're gonna lift your bust to the desired height. Keep in mind, you just want a natural lift. We're gonna apply this under the boob, under the bust area, and smooth that part down. So now we have it anchored. So it's anchored to our chest, as you can see. It's very smooth, we're not getting any creases. From there, we're gonna go ahead and just kind of roll it down and we're gonna peel off the rest of the backing. From there, you'll take the corners of the boob tape, lightly roll it down so you can lightly lift it up. Not too hard, not too high, and smooth it out. If this was actually stuck on my skin, it would actually give a good lift. Just keep in mind it's on fabric. This tape is not intended for fabric, so I'm not gonna get the lift that I need, just trying to show you the technique. So we have the main part on, and then now we're gonna go ahead and do the little strip because we don't want any spillage and we wanna round out the chest. And remember, this could be as wide or as narrow as you need for your chest. From here, you wanna take the bottom, go underneath the bust, smooth it out so it's anchored because you don't want to apply it if it's not anchored. From there, pull it down and peel off the rest. From there, you want to pull up and kind of around, if that makes any sense. And I'm left with something like this. It's already starting to lift because again, this is not made for fabric, but once it's on your skin, this won't happen. So normally this part would be stretched a little higher, but because this is fabric, it's not doing that. But just want to give you the gist of this one solid piece and then this strip pulls over just to kind of help round out the chest. From here, you would just do the same technique over here. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go ahead and apply it for real to my skin off camera, put my shirt on, and then show you the next step, which is trimming. All right, so I applied the boob tape off of camera, and this is what it looks like once I put the bodysuit back on. I used the same technique, the same amount, and as you can see, once it was stretched, it comes all the way up here. You can also see the little side strip that I put on as well, which we're gonna cut away. And there it is on that side also. This is why I say it's important to make sure your clothing is right next to you and your scissors, all your supplies, because you want to go ahead and cut this away before it fully adheres, and your body heat is what's going to help it adhere even better. So we want to do it now while it's movable. And a good tip when cutting this away is you want to kind of cut it at a rounded angle. If you cut it with a bunch of sharp edges, it's more likely to peel and move, and then it's not going to last as long. I hope you can see it. It's a little weird for me. I'm not used to doing this on camera, but you just kind of cut away the excess. And as you can see, I try to cut just a little, because you can see a little bit of the imprint. So just a little bit below this part, just in case it moves, you still can't see the boob tape. And as you can see, this side is cut and I don't have a bra on, but I'm still lifted and very secured. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this part off camera, and I'll be right back. And now that everything is in place and I feel very secure, I can wear those strapless tops, those backless dresses. My favorite part of wearing the boob tape is just look how seamless it looks in the back. I don't have any bulges from the bra. Not to mention, I don't have to make my straps super tight to where they're digging in, because normally we're tightening them to give us support. I already have that support, so I can keep this as loose as I want. Let's look at some before and after so you can actually see the benefit of wearing boob tape. All right, let's talk about the removal process. And honestly, this is just as important as the application process. The first thing you're gonna need is time and patience. You'll want to start by having all your supplies by you, starting with some type of oil. I like to use coconut oil because it's the most cost effective for me. You'll also need paper towels or a cloth because it can get messy. And personally, I suggest doing this in the bathroom by a sink. That way you can wash your hands if it does get a bit greasy. You want to start by applying the oil directly to the boob tape and really saturate it, really get it in. Honestly, if you warm the oil up, like by rubbing it, that's going to help break down that adhesive a lot more. And when it comes to actually removing it, I like to remove it in sections, and I actually like to start at the bottom. I noticed when I used to start at the top and then pull down, I'm going in the same direction as my skin, and then I was more prone to getting like skin tears. So going underneath, going against the way my natural skin flows. Since I'm starting at the bottom, I'm gonna lift little by little, applying some additional oil underneath if needed. And I continue to do that until the entire product is removed. Once the product is completely removed, you do want to take a soft cloth and a gentle cleanser just to wipe away any excess oils or any adhesive. It may be a little red, that's going to die down, and that's normal. The problem is if it hurts. If it hurts, then maybe you're not removing the product with enough oil, or maybe your skin is just way too sensitive to wear boob tape. Now let's talk aftercare. It's important not to skip this particular step. So once everything is off and you're getting ready to take your shower or your bath, make sure you're using some type of non-irritating soap or body wash. Also avoid scrubbing that area hard. And then once you're out and you're moisturizing, generously use a hydrating lotion or body oil just so you can add that moisture back into your skin. Let's go back over some of these tips just to make sure you're getting a smooth experience when you're applying boob tape. As I mentioned before, it is extremely important to go ahead and use a patch test. Secondly, never apply any boob tape to broken or irritated skin. Make sure you are fully healed before you do any type of application. And for my fuller busted ladies, you can actually try to layer the tape just for some added security and support. And regardless of what size your bust is, make sure you have anchor points before you actually pull it. And anchor points is just making sure that bottom portion is secure against your skin before you start lifting the tape. So you just want to lift it to a natural lift, naturally, and then finish applying the tape. Just don't have them all the way up here, girl. Don't do that. You're gonna be uncomfortable. You are gonna hurt. Also, it is not recommended to sleep in your boob tape. I don't. It is for short-term use. And finally, your first application is not gonna be the best. It's not gonna be flawless. Practice makes perfect. It's gonna take some time. It took me a while. You might be, you might catch on a lot quicker than I did. So I hope you enjoyed this in-depth video on how I use boob tape to enhance my style, as well as the tips that I shared to help you get a confident and a secure fit. And if you did, please go ahead and give your girl a thumbs up. Be sure to check out the description box down below. I will leave a link to the brands that I featured in this video. And I want to hear from you. Was this video helpful? Do you wear boob tape? If you don't, will you wear it after you see this? Like I mentioned before, I ask that the feedback is constructive. This is not talking about somebody's style and we have differences of opinion. This is talking about somebody's body, my body in particular. So let's keep it grown and cute in the comments. But if you do want to see more style content and of course, more Keita honey, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell. And I will catch you guys in the next one.